All right. Stop killing games. Explained using bananas. By Monkey Explains. Oh boy, the explaining monkey. I've reacted to this channel before. It's funny. We'll jump in. If you don't know what Stop Killing Games is, it's essentially just a movement created to stop from game developers killing off mostly live service games. To be fair, this probably will also include games that just disappear because they're old, but regardless, we'll just jump in.
If monkeys buy a copy of Donkey Kong Country, they should be able to play whenever they want, whether
Very true, very true, very, very true. I miss plug and play. Currently, the only one that really has that is the Switch.
it's 2 a.m., 2077, or on their OG Nintendo Switch. But today, if monkeys buy a digital copy of any game, they run the risk of not being able to play it in a few years' time. Why? Because corpo monkeys at the top of many previously celebrated AAA giants have changed the rules. Hidden in legalese within their terms of service agreements, they're able to erase entire games.
Yep. It's now you're only buying a license to play it. That doesn't mean you actually keep it. That's a problem.
And servers which are no longer hitting targets. Then terminate access to products and services you've paid for using your hard-earned bananas. Those bananas you spent on cosmetics, DLC, expansions, all gone. Just because the game is no longer profitable. The game...
Yep, then it gets killed off. Apparently the crew is getting some gets restarted, apparently. As far as I've heard. Like it will get community servers.
The industry is killing games, and it's got to stop. Before we move on, I understand that this is a little different from the stuff you see on my channel, but make no mistake, what's happening in the games industry is just as absurd as the other things I cover. So how are games being killed? For all the non-gamers in my audience, here's a quick explanation.
Simple. The game gets shut off. This happens mostly to live service game. The game gets shut off and is then no longer accessible. That's it.
Imagine you've been using Photoshop 7 for years. You've paid for it, learned it, and built your entire workflow around it. But one day, let's say Adobe decides Photoshop 7 is no longer profitable. They force you to upgrade, shut down the cloud servers holding hours of your hard work, and prevent you from opening the application entirely. Suddenly, you can't use Photoshop anymore, even though you paid for it using your bananas. Your ownership? Your access to a service you paid for? Gone. You get no say, you don't get a refund, and worst of all, you're the one left holding the bag. That's what's happening with hundreds of games. Games like The Crew, Overwatch, Gran Turismo, and the FIFA franchises are all guilty of this. Older, standalone games from the mid-2010s are slowly being delisted from stores. As of writing this video...
No! Lost Planet 2! I missed that game. I miss that game so much.
Many are no longer playable. The average monkeys who bought these games, the ones who spent...
I am also putting gacha games into this category. There's so many gacha games who do not get an offline version when they should be getting. Sword Art Online Variant Showdown is a game that I've played quite a bit. It's gonna shut down end of October. They do release, however, an offline version. But that is a rarity. That really doesn't happen that much.
On in-game cosmetics, currencies, and expansions, they might as well have thrown their hard-earned bananas into the void. They lost access to a product they paid for, all because a company decided that preserving it didn't agree with their bottom line. And in doing so, they've effectively stolen your hard-earned bananas and given you nothing in return. But why are games being killed? Many old games are shot between the eyes in their sleep for many reasons. Some publishers claim that it's no longer profitable to maintain servers. Others hide behind low player counts, and the worst of all, cite the abomination of live service business models. But don't get it twisted. Gone are the days where gamers made games. Now it's just soulless husks focused on...
Yep, it's mostly corpos and the people... I'm even going too far as to say that even the people that are making the games, right? The programmers, the people that run... basically run the projects, they're not game devs. Games are no longer made by game devs, like straight up. and they're also made by the corpos. So we have a two-way problem. We have people who have never made games be game devs. We have people who are not gamers, who don't consume gaming, running all the businesses.
One thing: milking customers for all the bananas they've got. Corpo monkeys do not care about the friends you made playing Halo Online, the euphoria from clearing a hard raid for the first time, or your love of the art created by the developers. They care about profit margins and quarterly reports. If a game isn't squeezing out enough bananas to hit their targets, they pull the plug. On paper, this might make sense. And some monkeys are very quick to point out that there's no point in keeping a game alive if it's not making money. But every time a company pulls the plug, they're telling you that your trust and support via your hard-earned bananas don't matter. You paid for—
That's not the problem, right? Pull the plug of a game if you think that if it doesn't make much money, if it isn't profitable, fine, okay, business, makes sense. What the problem is that they refuse to give that game over to the community. Like, if you're not make the game accessible, right? If nobody can play the crew anymore because it doesn't make any money and you don't profit of it, really, then just hand it over to the community. But that's not what's happening. Like, let the community make servers. Let the community, via donations, have servers. Keep that option open. But you're not doing that. You'd rather just have nobody have the game than you, It's like the weird part. They don't want others to run the game, but they themselves don't want to run the game either. And I think that's also because of money. Because instead of having this product out there and nobody making money, instead of having them make a little money, they would rather just have no money than somebody else running it and making money of it.
a product, not a rental. This isn't bad business. It's spitting in the face of the consumer. If we let companies get away with this, what's next? Will they start deleting your single-player games? Charging you to customize your character? Ask you to swipe your credit card for revives? Oh wait, it's already happening. This is a slippery slope, greased with corporate indifference and consumer apathy. It's a scam, dressed up in legalese. And the worst part is that industry giants like Blizzard have started sneaking this into their TOS forms. And here's the real punchline. Many of these games have single-player modes that can be played without an internet connection. Overwatch, Gran Turismo,
But they're still shutting them down.
both have content that could work perfectly fine without servers. So why can't you play them? Because the Corpo monkeys would rather flip the off switch and push you to spend another 80 bananas on their newer release. And to be clear, it's unrealistic to expect old games to be supported with new content forever. However, they should be playable at the very least. Old games should come with an end-of-life plan. It could be a final patch which makes the game playable without the need for an internet connection, servers, or further support from the developers. But sadly, this isn't happening. The bottom line is this: games are no longer being viewed as art to be protected, but a means for investors.
Not only that, right? Well, it may not happen that the company may provide new content. I'm pretty sure that for most games, if you get skilled enough people, you can still provide community-made content for the game. But I don't want that either, because what if it actually gets way, way better than what they made, and then it becomes successful?
And shareholders to turn a profit. But who wins from killing games? It's the Corpo monkeys. The ones who see games not as art, but as a means to earn their annual bonus. When a game gets axed, they get to cut costs, free up server space, and funnel players into their supposedly newer and better release. Just look at Overwatch 2. Exactly the same game with some features changed here and there. Oh, but you bet there's loads of paid skins, battle passes, and time-gated exclusives. Killing old releases and forcing players onto their new game gives publishers all the leverage. You're not a customer anymore. You're a data point on a spreadsheet, a contributor to the bottom line. Other than the customers, there's another group who are being forced to participate in this shit
That's why people are not mad how well Silksong is doing. AAA gaming got fucked recently with Silksong releasing. About over 500,000 players on Steam. Just $20. More of what people already loved. Good game. AAA got fucked by an indie studio. By 3 fucking people.
Show. The developers, the real artists, they lose too. Most devs, sadly, have no say if their games live or die. Unless they're fully independent, they're just as powerless as the players. And most of the time, the devs are gamers too. Their art, their legacy, and potentially years of toil.
Yeah, we've seen less and less of those. There's a lot of developers that don't appear to be game developers actually, and just put there for odd reasons.
Destroyed in the course of a single boardroom meeting. And when companies make games less about art and more about profitability, they end up making safe, formulaic slop with every release. Because there's no incentive to try something new, no room to experiment. It's the same shit, but different year. Where love and passion once gave us great games, now sits greed and corporate interests. What I'm trying to say is this: killing games does nothing for the customer or the developers. It puts all the power in the hands of the corporation and leaves both players and developers at their mercy. The only ones who win are the ones who never cared about games in the first place. But it's not over yet. Even though this all looks incredibly bleak, we're not powerless. There's an initiative called Stop Killing Games, and it's a campaign.
And it's pretty successful. It did what it needed to do. It achieved what it needed to do. You know what's really funny? You know what's incredibly funny? Pirate Software crying about it. Oh, is he gonna get mentioned? That'd be funny. Yeah, Pirate Software is special.
Campaign started by regular monkeys challenging the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. You can check out this website here for details, but here's a brief summary. The initiative calls for companies to keep games playable, even if they're no longer profitable, even if the servers go dark. At the very least, let us play the single-player modes we paid for with our hard-earned bananas. I would sign it myself, but unfortunately, the petition is only available to EU citizens. So if you're an EU citizen, please consider signing the
I did sign it.
petition to preserve the games we enjoy. Will it guarantee change? Maybe, maybe not. But every movement starts with a signal. Even if this never makes it into the code of law, it tells the industry that the monkeys are watching, and we're not happy with how things are going. If enough monkeys...
You can tell that people aren't happy with how things are going because of the games they play. A lot of the games that people play are older games. That should tell you something. It's just crazy. The problem is also that we need to start boycotting games. Technically, we would need to stop boycotting games at a live service. Technically.
monkeys put our foot down, maybe, just maybe, some companies will rethink their decisions before pulling the plug on the next game. Because after all, monkeys strong together. And it's working. While I was editing this video, a video game lobby made a statement against the initiative. This can only mean one thing. The corpo monkeys are scared. Let's keep it that way. So if you too care about preserving art, please consider signing the petition and add your voice to the choir of hundreds of thousands of others just like it. And if you're not part of the EU, you can help by spreading the word. Tell your friends, your guildmates, your family. Every little bit helps. If any monkeys are confused, just remember that this is a simple explainer of how the gaming industry is killing art. And unlike the previous videos, please absolutely consider this as a call to action to go sign the petition today. Thank you so much for watching, and please let me know what you'd like to see me cover next.
I love these videos. They're fun. They're for sure fun. Yeah, stop killing games. I think we need to thank Pirate Software. He is a great contributor to the whole situation because he made a fool out of himself. Yeah, change needs to happen. I think it is a necessity to find the way to go back to plug and play. I'm gonna be honest. With no always on. We need that. I'm gonna say this. This is the last point for this. Also, they are actively keeping the file sizes this big, so they can justify that you have to download it because it doesn't fit anywhere. That is just my idea. Because, they would rather keep the games ginormous than actually properly, what's the word? Optimize them. There's a reason games are now so big, and it's about optimization. That is really all I wanted to say. Anyway, if you enjoy this kind of content, please consider liking, subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.